Shalom, it's Reuben Ebrahimoff, the Haftorahman, with this week's portion from the Parsha of Shemot. And in it, this is the beginning of the book of Exodus. In it, you have the story of how the Israelites are enslaved in Egypt by Pharaoh. And then the men of the Great Assembly picked this Haftara that talks about how the Israelites that were enslaved by Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon, and then eventually the Persian Empire took them over, but then permitted the Jews to return back to Israel. So this is a similar discussion about what happened to the Israelites. It comes from Isaiah. His name means God will save me, Yeshayahu, and that he had 3 children. He lived till 120. It said that he was the greatest prophet of all after Moses, and this man has his own book, 66 chapters long, and probably more songs and famous phrases come out of the book of Isaiah than anyone else. He is also similar to Ezekiel, who was a prophet that saw what's called the Ma'aseh Merkava, the vision of God's heavenly chariot that lifted itself up and away from his footstool, figuratively speaking. That was the Holy Temple, that God rested in the Holy Temple, and now both these men saw God saying, I'm out of here. So let's begin with the book of Isaiah. It starts in chapter 27. The Haftara comes from 3 consecutive chapters, a few sentences from each one. It is one of the most difficult Haftorot. It's 21 psukim long. Let's just dive in with the story that takes place by Isaiah, who lived in Jerusalem, and he lived about 2,600 years ago. So it starts off with this statement that Haba'im Yashresh Yaakov Yotzitzu Farach Yisrael, and that the Israelites are going to take root when they return to the land of Israel. This is one of the explanations, and that they will blossom and they will bud like new flowers in the land of Israel, and that all the world will be filled with their fruits of their wisdom and knowledge and Torah. However, how did they get to this point? And this is an onomatopoeia, or using alliteration. It says, Hakemakat makehu hikahu. It's a question. Didn't the ones that beat the Israelites get beaten, those Egyptians? Im kehereg harugov harag. You can hear it in the speaking, in the language. The ones that killed us, the ones that threw us in the Nile River, didn't they die in the Nile River? God is saying, I gave it back to them. Very unusual languaging here. Bisa'asa'ah. A se'ah is a certain measure, but they're not really clear, because it's only used once in all of the book of Tanakh, whether it means a little kitanchik of it, or does it mean a big, big one. But regardless, it says that in this full measure that God dealt with the people that persecuted his people. And therefore, Isaiah commands the inhabitants of the kingdom of the 10 tribes. He's warning them, smash your altars. Otherwise, this idol worshipping is going to lead to your exile. But it talks about the future redemption of the Jewish people, and that they will eventually come back to the land of Israel, that there will be that day where the Jewish people will come back to the land of Israel. Now here's a pasuk that you've heard before, and it was on that day, Yitaka b'shofar gadol. Hey, in Shmona Esrei, it says Taka b'shofar gadol. This is where it comes from, this Haftara. It comes from. And then now, you're going to get singing Haftorahman. It sings along the song, Uva'u ha'uvdim be'eretz Ashur ve'hanidachim be'eretz Mitzrayim ve'ishtachavu l'Hashem behar HaKodesh ve'ishtachavu l'Hashem behar HaKodesh b'Yerushalayim. Cut, Reuben. So here you have this fantastic song that is saying that these people that were exiled into the land of Assyria, and that also the ones that were in Egypt, but they're going to bow down to God in the holy city of Jerusalem. So these are these reassuring words spoken to us by the prophet Isaiah. Now the kingdoms of the 10 tribes are indulging in these different pleasurable events, which we'll go into a little bit, that they're going to be punished for. And that one of the things that they're talking about is that these people drank too much wine, and that they would get so drunk that it says that they would like throw up, that they would vomit on the table. It was like, bleh. That these people were so shikker that they were not doing the worship of God, they were doing idol worshiping. And it says, listen, you must listen to the Nevi'im. We've heard this before. You have to listen to these men that I've told you to listen to what they say. It's very interesting, the languaging here. It talks about, again, this alliteration, kitzav latzav, kav la kav. In other words, slowly, step by step, I have to retrain these people that were previously spiritually connected to God. But now that they've forgotten everything, we're going to have to teach them slowly what they have to be doing. Now, you just got through getting beaten. No Haftorah ends like an Italian movie, which is on a downer. So they roll ahead to the 3rd chapter of the Haftara, and it says now that, listen, everybody, and listen carefully to what the Navi has saying, because that the day will come where the people that persecuted will be wiped out, and that Hashem is going to bring you back, and you will live in the land of Israel, and it will all be yours again. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the Haftara and share this with all your friends and family, and become holy souls.